Guys, welcome back. Another week of Pilates practice, 1 hour recorded here for you. So let's go ahead and begin. We'll start lying on our back for class. We'll have the knees bent and feet grounded to the floor. Choosing whether you'd like to line the knees and feet up with your hip bones, a nice narrow stance, or deciding to take the feet out a little bit wider and letting the knees gently come together. Sometimes doing that can allow the lower back to kind of open up just a little bit more. So if you're finding you're wanting that within your body, feel free to do so. Your arms stretched down long beside you, angled at about 45 degrees, palms facing up, and really actively rolling your shoulders open, lightly pressing the backs of them to the ground to broaden your chest. The crown of your head is reaching to the back of your mat while the chin draws down and lands fist distance from your chest. Nice long cervical spine. We'll let our eyes close here, which brings the focus more inward. And then we'll begin to connect the mind and body, and we'll do that through breathing. Let's start here by taking a deep inhale through the nose. And then a long and steady exhale out through the mouth. Again, a big inhale, make sure to fill all the way up. And then a steady exhale to make sure you empty out completely. As you breathe in next, pull it from the pit of your belly, fill into your ribs, and draw up into the top of the chest. Then as you exhale, you want to empty from the top of the chest, press down through your ribs, and then squeeze the last bit out through the lower belly region. Ribs expanding out to their sides as the lungs fill on an inhale. And then actively knit your ribs back to midline as you squeeze a breath out on the exhale. Soft, easy breath in through your nose. A stronger, audible, and more powerful exhale through your mouth as if you're forcing air through a tight straw. When you breathe in with ease, your belly is going to rise and the muscles in the core stay relaxed and disengaged. When you exhale with that power, then feeling those muscles begin to activate, right? Contract the core, draw the navel down towards spine. And I'd like you just to continue to stay with this breath. Start to build relationship up between breath and powerhouse. They are directly related. They work hand in hand. See if you can pull the abs in more deeply each time you breathe out. I really want you to focus on the subtle movement within inside of you. The sensations that are being created within, and staying focused on that can help you to clear out the mind, set all other things aside so that you can really be present for your practice. When we're fully in the moment, we're better able to engage specific muscles, we're able to feel out alignment, and just get a better idea of how our body moves. Let's stay here for 4 more cycles of breath. Continuing to feel expansion of body on an inhale, contraction of body on the exhale. Let's do a couple more. Inhale to the fullest. Exhale until you can no longer. Once more, take every last sip of breath in. And then let every drop of breath release out. After completing, gently open the eyes. Taking your next inhale, I'd like you to slowly turn your head to look over the right shoulder. And then as you breathe out, you're going to transition to turn the head, looking over the left shoulder. Inhale, the head then swivels back over to the right shoulder. And then exhale, taking it back over to the left shoulder. A little rotational movement for cervical spine. Let's do 1 more in each direction, making sure that the head stays in contact with the ground throughout the movement. and that you don't rush to these endpoints. You get there at the very top of inhale and very bottom of exhale. Return your head back to centered space. Let's next interlace our fingers and take hands behind the head, really cupping at the base of the skull, making sure none of your fingers or any part of your hand is on the neck at all. And then we're going to lift our elbows to the sky. We want the arms to stay close to frame our head to use as a support system while we take a breath in to prepare. Let your head stay heavy as you exhale. Use your hands to lift the back of head off ground while you press your chin right into the chest, stretching the back of neck down through shoulder blades. Returning head to the floor again, take an inhale. We'll do that a couple more times. So using the strength of arms and hands, lift the back of head and back of neck off the floor, and then press the chin into the chest. And then return it down, take an inhale. We'll do that one last time. On the exhale, we lift. Head again remains heavy, arms do the work. Let's stay lifted here. On an inhale, use your hands to help turn your head to the right. And then exhale, use the hands to turn head to left. Again, we turn it to the right, breathing in. Breathing out, take it to the left. Let's take it one more to each side. Inhale to the right. Exhale to the left. Take the head back to centered space. Breathing in, breathing out, release the head down. Remove the hands and lift your arms now to the sky, stacked right above shoulders. Let's, on our next inhale, lift the backs of shoulders off the floor and reach our fingertips closer to the sky. And then as you breathe out, shoulders are going to actively root back down. Reach up on an inhale. Generally, we're wanting to avoid doing this during our practice, but plugging down, this is what we want to maintain, anchor. Once more, when we shrug up, we close off our chest, and sometimes that can strain into the neck and shoulder region. But when we plug down, we broaden our chest, and we also begin to activate the muscles behind us between shoulder blades. Keep the shoulders plugged into their sockets, and then go ahead and lower your arms down beside you. Turn your palms to face up, making sure the arms are in close and not angled out this time. Next, I'll have you look over the left shoulder. And we're going to keep looking over this shoulder throughout the movement, and we're going to be working just with our right arm. Before we begin this movement, you want to try to keep your arm either in contact with the floor the whole time or as close to the floor as you can. With your head to the left, on an inhale, your right arm is going to take a semicircle to sweep up, reaching behind you. And then on your exhale, you're going to circle that arm back down along its side. Again, semicircle to sweep overhead. And then exhale, circling down beside you. Let's do 4 more here. With our head turned to look over the opposite shoulder, we're actually getting more stretch into the front of our right shoulder and part of the pectoral here leading into chest. We're also working on the mobility of our shoulder joint. So really finding a nice full semicircle range of motion. We're going to do 2 more here. Inhale, sweep up slow. Exhale it back down. Once more here. Inhale, circling up. And then exhale, circling down. Keep the arm there in close. Now we're going to switch. So now we're going to look over our right shoulder as far over as you can, and then keep the head there. The left arm now has movement on an inhale, circle overhead. And then exhale back down. Again, inhaling behind you. And then exhale down beside you. 4 more here. So the top of your breath is when the arm is at the back of your mat, and then at the bottom of your breath is when the arm comes back in close to you. Let's do 2 more here. Good, one more time. Breath in, circle up. Good, and then breath out, we're gonna circle down. When the arm comes in close, let's just go ahead and return our head back to centered space. With our arms in close, I want you to actively stretch them down and press the triceps into the floor. If you had your feet wider than your knees, go ahead and bring the knees and feet to align with your hips. Let's take a breath in while we're here, arms pushing down, and then firm up your belly. On the exhale, use your core strength to lift your feet off the floor. Slowly bring the knees to the chest and place your hands on your knees. Start to rock gently side to side. Stay with the tempo of your breath, so no need to rush through this movement as you just massage out your back. Then from side to side, begin to create a circular motion with the legs. Let your hands guide this movement so that the hip flexors don't take over. But now we're focused a bit more on the sacral region of our spine, the lower back, just above the tailbone. Rolling and massaging it out. Take a moment to pause and then reverse direction. Big breaths in. Strong, steady exhales out. Let's start to take the legs back into still and nicely centered. Keeping your hands on your knees, let's take a breath in while we're here. When you exhale, I want you to hug your legs in, let your tailbone curl and lift off the ground. And then on an inhale, let that tailbone re-root back down to the floor. Again, exhale, use your hands to hug the legs in and then let the tailbone curl up. Using a bit of your core strength to help with that lift and then roll back down. Take an inhale. I want to do 2 more of these. So thighs pull in first, then tailbone curls up, and then maybe the backs of your hips can come off the ground. Release on an inhale. One more time, just like that. Exhale. Hug in, belly pulls in tight to help lift up the backs of the hips. And then go ahead and return your tailbone back to the floor again. Hands still on knees on an inhale. Now we're going to separate the legs, open them wide, but as you open them, hug them in closer up into your side bodies. Then as you breathe out, I want you to let the legs kind of drop down a bit as you circle them through and reconnect them. Right, so it is a fairly decent range of motion, but still concentrated at the same time. So we separate, we open, and then to get bigger range, we just kind of hug in and up, and then exhale, let it drop through, circle around, come back in. Let's do 4 more. I want you to pause at the top of each breath when your hips are opened up the most, and then circle through. So we're working on the mobility of our hips while massaging out our hip flexors. Again, we open wide and then we circle through. Let's go ahead and do 2 more here. Again, finding the fullest range of motion in your legs that you can within your body. One more time here. Breath in, we open, we draw in a bit closer, and then let it drop through, circle around, legs reconnect. From here, both hands to the right knee as you stretch your left leg to ground and flex the foot. Using both hands, we'll hug the right thigh in, which helps to stretch the glute and the lower back. While hugging in, drawing some circles with your foot to roll out the ankle. And then reverse direction. Beautiful, then the foot will come into still. Your right arm is going to extend out to its side. The palm faces up, the shoulder presses in. Using your left hand, begin to slowly guide that leg across to your left side while you look over your right shoulder, easing yourself into spinal twist. Remembering that we don't have to get to our end point right off the bat. In fact, I'd rather you kind of do this in increments, right? Feeling and allowing your exhales to let maybe the right leg become heavier, right? To settle the body more into the space, but making sure that you still maintain anchor points That being your right arm and the back of that right shoulder. Big breaths in, and of course your left leg. Long breaths out. Expand your midsection when you inhale. Contract your midsection as you exhale. Let's do 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more time. Breath in big. Firm in your belly, then unwind as you breathe out, protecting your lower back as you return to centered space. Then from here, take your left arm out to a T, and then with your right hand, I want you to either catch hold of the outer edge of your right foot, and if not able to, ankle, calf, or hooking arm behind your thigh. We're going to start to transition into half happy baby. So once you have hold of any part of the leg or foot, I want you then to slowly bring the sole of your foot up towards the sky. If your arm is on the inside of your leg, a bit like mine is, you can kind of use that energy of the arm to push the leg out a little bit more. And then where you're holding on to on your foot or leg, I want you to try to draw that knee in closer towards the floor. Now, sometimes that heel is going to be tempted to drop down. So be very mindful that the sole of the foot is lifted to sky, even feeling your toes almost try to pull to the back of your mat. That's what's going to help to open up your right hip. We're just going to breathe into that space. Use your left arm and leg as anchor points. So activate by flexing foot and spreading fingers and pressing the back of leg and the back of arm to ground. Deep inhales. And then a long exhales. We'll stay here twice more. Breath in. Breath out. Once more, inhale. As you breathe out, I want you to gently release the leg. So starting with the heel pulling down towards your glute, then the knee drawing in to line up with its hip, and then go ahead and release that leg and stretch it out to meet your left. And then take a moment, just feel the difference between either leg, and maybe the right one feels a bit longer than the left. We'll go to the left side next. So draw the left knee in and both hands hold on to that knee. Hugging that leg in closer to body. When we hug in, we often tend to shrug our shoulders to our ears. So instead, I want you to think about actively pulling them away from your ears. Okay. And then we circle the left foot, warming into the ankle. Wonderful. Then we'll reverse direction. Big inhales, strong but steady exhales. Good. And then start to take the foot back into still, left arm out to its side, anchor the shoulder down, use your right hand and as many breaths as you'd like to cross leg to your right side as you look over your left shoulder, twisting here. So every breath out, I'm allowing my body to become a little bit more heavy. Releasing any grip or hold that I have, particularly with my left leg. Stay here a couple more. Last time here, breath in. Activate the core and then unwind as you breathe out. Returning back to center. Once you have, right arm comes to its side. Left hand grabs hold of either outer edge of foot, ankle, calf, or hook arm behind thigh. Once you have hold, begin to lift the sole of your left foot up. Press the leg out, and then where you're holding on to, I want you to draw that knee in closer towards the floor. Remember that your right side body is active and working to be an anchor so that you don't shift your weight to your left. You want to keep weight equal within your body. We breathe into our left hip. Big breaths in. Long breaths out. Let's go ahead and take 2 more here. Inhaling. Exhaling. Last time, breath in. As you breathe out, slowly bring the heel back down towards the glute. Release the hold, let the leg pull in line with hip. And then go ahead and return that foot to the floor. Bend your right knee, also ground that foot to the floor. Arms can relax beside you. Next, we'll stretch into the outer hips and the glutes. Take your right leg and cross it over your left leg. So think as if you're sitting in a chair, cross-legged with no space between legs. Then let's go ahead and bring the knees towards the chest, a hand to either leg, and sliding the hands down to reach as far or as close to the feet as you can without your shoulders straining up. And then I want you to actively and equally pull both legs in closer to you. When that happens, our tailbone comes up. So then keep the pulling of the legs, but then press the tailbone to floor. We're breathing into and stretching out that right outer hip. You can keep your feet relaxed, hanging down low, or you can flex the feet, begin to lift them up. It brings your legs a bit more to 90. It just changes the stretch a little bit, something you may want to explore for your body. You could also start to rock slowly side to side, and that movement, that shift, also allows the stretch to change as well, depending upon the angle up. Breathe deep, breathe full. Let's stay here for 3 more cycles. Any variation that suits your body. Once you've completed those 3 cycles, returning your body weight to center, releasing your stretch, uncrossing the legs and grounding your feet. We're going to switch sides, left leg crossing over right leg. Knees pull in. Grab a leg with each hand and slide the hands down as low as you can reach. Shoulders plugged to sockets. Equally hug the legs in close to you. Then root your tailbone back to the ground. Broaden that chest. Keep the back of your neck long and breathe and focus now on your left hip. Remember the options. You can lift the feet up a bit higher with flexing through the heels, or you can keep the feet relaxed and low. Movement also is an option. Slow, slow, side to side to feel a change in your stretch. Breathe fully, breathe deeply. Good. Let's take 3 more cycles here. Good. And then after you've completed your 3 cycles, if you had some movement or had shifted your weight, return to stillness and center. Release the stretch, uncross the legs, and take your feet back to the ground again. We'll next get into the backs of the legs. Starting with the right side, we're going to lift the right leg to sky, hold from behind, and anchor your tailbone to ground. Start to push a leg away from body first to straighten out the back side of it. And then we're going to draw in for stretching, making sure we don't start bending our knee. That means we'll lose stretch. So length of the leg is most important. Tailbone staying anchored also is key. If the tailbone curls up, we've also lost some tautness to the back side of the leg. So keeping tailbone grounded firm. As we hold our stretch here, I want you to flex the foot, drive the heel to sky, and then point your toes. Again, flexing of the foot and pointing of the toes. And we'll do that once again. Heel to sky and point the toes. Then relax the foot, release the leg, bend your knee, take your foot to the floor. We're going to go ahead and switch sides. I'm just going to lift this up a little bit because I know my feet are cut off. Here we go. All right. Left leg now will lift up. Hold from behind, root down your tailbone. Push away first to get more length. Meet that energy by drawing in to come into the stretch itself. So the pull in isn't going to be all that great because you're fighting yourself by pushing away. If we, again, just focus on the pull, now my leg has bent and I've lost not all of my stretch, but a lot of it. So worrying less about how closely the leg gets pulled in and focus more on the length. And as we hold here, we're going to flex the foot. And then we're going to point the toes. Again, heel to sky. And point. Once more, flexed foot. And pointed toes. We'll relax the foot, release the leg, bend the knee, take the foot to the floor. Once both feet have grounded, I'll have you extend the legs out long to the floor, and then arms close in, pressed down firm. I'm going to push out through both heels. First to start, so you can feel the anchoring of the legs to the ground. Then we're going to go ahead and point the toes of our right foot. So flex left foot, pointed right foot. This is a subtle core exercise. We're going to be focusing on finding range of motion within our leg and also using our abdominal strength to not only protect our lower back, but to control the movement of our body. When you breathe in, I want you to draw the knee in close towards your chest, then lift the leg up straight to sky. As you breathe out, I want you to firm in that belly as you slowly begin to lower that right leg towards the floor. It's not going to lower completely, so find a level you can maintain. Hover would be the lowest you could go. Then we do it again. Inhale, knee in and leg up. So at the top of your breath is when your leg is extended to the sky. And then on the exhale is when you control that leg towards the floor. Again, knee in, leg straight up, and then exhale towards ground. Pull in as closely as you can. Stretch up as high as you can reach. Lengthen out through the toes as your leg begins to lower. We're going to do this one more time. Draw knee in, lift leg high. This time you are going to take the leg all the way down, but don't drop it quick. You are going to take it slow until the very bottom when the leg connects to ground. Once it has, flex your right foot. Point the toes of your left side. And we do it again. Left leg, breathe in, knee in, extend up. Then exhale. Firmed up belly to control the movement. Again, and to protect lower back. Inhale, in and up. Exhale, coming down. If we rush the movement, especially when it comes to drawing the knee in and extending, make sure it's still somewhat slow, even though there's only an inhale to get there. We want to make sure that the rest of our body doesn't slide around as we move our left side. Let's do two more. Knee in, leg up. So we're using our grounded leg and arms to anchor down to stabilize us. Once more, knee in, left leg to sky, and then lengthen through those toes as the leg comes all the way down to the ground. Once it has, draw the right knee to chest and keep it there. Pull the left knee in. Take a breath in while you're here. When you exhale, your right leg is going to slowly extend away from body. Draw back in on the inhale. So now our core has to work a little bit harder because as we extend, go ahead to your left side, as we extend out a leg, we've lost now the support of our other leg that was once grounded. Now that it's off the floor, right? Less stability, more core strength needed. Right side, again, reaching out. Remember, when you lengthen the leg, you want to land at that end point right away. So rather than extending the leg out and then dropping it down, right, we're going to just get right to that edge. Draw knee in. Let's do two more to each. Right side, you can lift your leg up higher to sky to modify it more. Closer to ground will have more heat. Left leg, you want to lengthen out first from the hip, then the thigh, then the shin, then the toes. Then you pull in from the hip, the thigh, the knee, and then the heel draws in. Let's do one more to each. Extension of the right leg. Inhale it in. Left side. Good. Draw the knee in. Hands on knees. Recover. Rest. Good. Let's come back into stillness. Keep the knees into body. Release the arms back close beside. Stretched all the way down. Pressed into the floor firm. Let's take an inhale now with knees to body. This time, both of your legs at the same time are going to extend away a little bit more. Demand for the core. Draw the knees in. So because this is a bit more physically challenging, you can, again, always readjust the extension level of your legs. Draw back in. I'm going to do 2 more before adding on. Lengthen all the way out. Reach to those toes. Draw all the way back in. 1 more time. Good. Draw the knees in and then take another moment to rest. I want us to add on to that leg extension movement. All right, we'll come back into still. We'll keep the knees towards chest. This time we're going to lift the arms to stack them above the shoulders. Your palms are turned forward to face the front of your mat, and that your hands aren't too narrow. They should be shoulder width distance apart. Before we begin, our whole body is going to move as one piece. Let's take a breath in. When you breathe out, begin to extend the legs. And as you extend them, you're going to start to lift your head, neck, and shoulders. And as that happens, your arms are also going to draw down to a hovered space. And then as you draw the knees in, you're going to restack the arms and lower the head, neck, and shoulders. Again, legs lengthen, head, neck, and shoulders lift. Arms come down to hover. Lower back in, restack, draw in. 2 more of these. Once more. Stay lifted, pump the arms right into our 100. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. Good, here's 20, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. Remember, you can always readjust. Head can come to the ground and legs can also come to tabletop. Good. Here's 40, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. Good. 50, vigorous pumping of arms, exhale. Good. 60, tight belly, 4, 5, exhale. Good. 70. Good. Here's 80, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. 2 more sets. 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. Good. Last 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. 2, 3, 4, 100. Release and recover. So that gets our heart rate up. It also stokes a lot of fire within side of us. So you may notice, like right now, my face feels really flush and warm. My body is a bit heated up. So it's a nice way to get that body kind of the blood pumping and the energy moving. I guess to move into our roll-ups next. So roll-ups is still a core exercise, but it's also a really nice way to stretch the back of the body. So the stretch in this exercise is just equally as important as the strengthening portion. So I'm going to take our time to stay for a moment in the folded portion of this, and also really make sure that the body has proper engagement and alignment to get the full benefit of that stretch. So we'll start with the legs extended out in front with the feet flexed. The feet also run parallel so that they're not just hanging out to the sides, which will mean your inner thigh muscles are working, rolling and hugging them into the midline of your body. Then the arms are going to reach behind you. As the arms stretch back, our ribs begin to tend to pop up. So I want you to seal those ribs in tight. Imprint your spine to the floor, and also zip your pubic bone towards your navel. All of these things really help to already engage this area of our body, our core, our abdominals. So as you breathe in, I want you to start to lift off the floor. Your arms, head, and shoulders come up. You're not going to stop or pause. You're just going to continue to pull yourself up through the exhale to sit tall. I'm going to scooch back so you can see me a little bit better here. Now I want you to slowly hinge forward from your hips. This is where we're going to focus on today. So sometimes we just stay really stacked and don't really fold in. So right here, right, hinging, stacking, hinging, stacking. So from the hips, we lean in. Our spine, yes, is rounded, but I don't want you to pull your heart away from the toes. I want you to stretch your heart closer too. Then your arms are lifted parallel to your thighs, but make sure the shoulders aren't scrunched to ears, they're plugged in. Also, your head hangs all the way through the arms to get everything even through the back of your neck. Make sure you're still actively pushing through your heels. When you take your next inhale, I want you to stack back up again. Fingertips to sky, looking straight on. I'm gonna scooch back. On the exhale, tuck your tailbone under, scoop up your belly, round your spine, and control yourself as you return to the ground. Never let your legs relax, as they are a really key element to this exercise. We begin again. Start the lift as you breathe in. Really use that power of breath to help lift you. Hinge from your hips, lean into the legs, heart towards toes, head heavy, shoulders plugged, feet flexed. Stack upright on the breath in. Make sure to always look straight on as you come down, as we often tend to drop our chin to chest, but we want to keep that neutral position up. Let's do a couple more. Generally, you want to start to exhale around the tips of your shoulder blades. That's when it really starts to become demanding physically on our body. Stacking upright. Arms almost slightly behind ears while you come down. It makes it a little bit more challenging for the core to work. Once more here, breath in, start it up. Feel the legs, even if they lift off the ground, pressing them towards the ground, lifting the heart to the sky for good posture, so that when we hinge, we get that deep stretch. Stack tall on the inhale. Let's stay seated. Exhale the arms down beside us. Wonderful. We're going to do a couple of seated exercise next. So I'm going to take a quarter turn to face the camera. You guys can stay as you are. So spine twist is up next. Remembering that this is a waistline strengthener, so we're focusing on the obliques. It's also a great movement just for our spine in general as it's rotating. It's also going to help us to focus on posture, staying tall. So if you're finding even here with your legs extended, it's really hard to sit upright completely. You might be feeling a little tension in your hip flexors or your lower back. That's an indication just to bend your knees a little bit. That releases the hip flexors a bit more, allows the pelvis to tilt to a more stabilized space to allow you to sit all the way upright. And then from here, I want you to take your arms into a genied position, forearms stacked, and then making sure those arms are lifted and elevated to shoulder level, that they're not below them, not above them, right in line. Once they're in line, I want you to actively pull your shoulder blades down your back as you lift your heart to the sky at the same time. Notice how I came out of my arms more, right? I grew a little taller. And then from here on out, your arms, they will physically move, but they're not ever going to lead movement. They're only following what the rest of the body does. Let's take an inhale right here at center. I want you to take a twist to your right as you breathe out. Think about getting taller as you rotate. It's going to be a small movement. We never want our legs to shift. Then let's return to center as you breathe in. Now let's take it to the left side. Imagine you're climbing up a spiral staircase, reaching out through crown of head. Return to center on an inhale. As if your waist were a wet towel, you want to wring out water as you take it to the right. Return to center, breathing in. And then taking it to your left side. Back to center on an inhale. Let's do one more to each. Taller, shoulders down, chest up, eyes move along the horizon. Center, breathe in. Last one here, to your left. Come back to center as you breathe in. And then uncross the arms, let your feet relax and fold over your legs to recover. Let's take another breath in here in this fold. As you're breathing out, I want you to slowly stack back up one vertebra at a time. The head will be the last thing that comes up. I'd like us to do one more seated exercise. Guys, wow, I got warm. Sorry, I'm going to take my sweatshirt off here. It's not even that hot here today, but boy, I'm warm. Okay, so one more seated exercise. A lot of strengthening for our shoulders, our muscles between our shoulder blades behind us, our rhomboids, and then our lats, which kind of run along the upper back, but along the side right behind your armpits. So we're going to keep our legs extended out. Remember, you can have a bend in your knees. We're just going to flex our feet again and start with the arms directly beside us. Make sure you're sitting up nice and tall. So when you take your inhale, I want you to slowly pull the arms directly out in front of you. On your exhale, bend your elbows, pull the elbows straight back. Notice how my wrists and elbows are still lined up with my shoulders. This did not happen. Okay. Then on an inhale, I want you to externally rotate the arms. So the palms face forward, the fingertips lift to sky. You're in 90-90 with your arms. Then as you breathe out, we're going to internally rotate. We're going to pull those hands and wrists back down to shoulder elbow level. Then we're going to take an inhale to extend the arms straight out in front. Hands are shoulder width apart. And then on the exhale, we're going to take the arms back beside us again. Couple more times. Inhale, lifting the arms straight out in front. Exhale, feel this between the shoulder blades as you pull back. Then an external rotation as you breathe in, working into our rotator cuff with the shoulders. Exhale, we're going to internally rotate. Breathe in, straighten the arms in front, but don't let the hands narrow, shoulder width. Exhale to lower. One more time, inhale straight up. Maintain your posture, keep your belly tight. Exhale, pull back. External rotation when you inhale. Internal rotation as you exhale. Extend forward as you breathe in. Lower down as you breathe out. Wonderful. Let's go ahead and bend the knees. Hug your legs together close. Wrap your arms tightly around the backs of your legs and grab your arms with a firm grip with the hands. This really tight wrap and grip is important for the stretch. We're going to take our chin, then press it to chest, and don't ever let that leave. We're going to try to pull ourselves away from our legs by scooping up our belly, rounding our back, and using, again, that tight grip of the arms to use as an anchor so that we don't just fall back, right? We're using it to pull ourselves back more and more to get a deeper stretch across the shoulder blades, the upper back. So when you breathe in, inhale into that space. Exhale it out. We'll stay here for two more. Breathe into the backside. Exhale out. Last one here, breathe behind you. As you exhale, start to pull your belly in towards thighs, stack all the way up. Release the arms and let them lower beside you. We're going to go ahead and transition next to tall kneeling right at the back of our workspace. So tall kneeling, you're stacked upright from knees to hips, up to shoulders, nice and vertical. And then we're going to have our legs separated hip width apart for a little bit more stabilized base. Arms are going to stretch down long beside us. I'm actively reaching down to the floor. I'm not just letting my arms hang out. They're stretching down. When we stretch them down, your shoulders also drop into sockets and your shoulder blades pull down your backside. Zip your pubic bone towards navel and pull the ribs in tight. We're going to be strengthening our triceps, upper back again. It's going to be a chest opener and a core strengthener. Take a breath in.
As you breathe out, your arms are going to press back first, then begin to lift them behind you. Lower the arms along your sides on an inhale. So when we do this on the exhale, it's tempting to widen our hands because that will allow the arms to lift higher. I don't want you to do that. I want you to keep your hands shoulder width apart because then your muscles have to work harder to get there. Yeah. And then lower the arms, take an inhale. We're gonna do 4 more here. Press back and up. Make sure not to lean forward, right? So the chest is opening, the belly's pulled in, the arms are working. Arms come down, breathe in. We never want to swing the arms back. We want to guide them in movement and breath. And we never want to drop the arms down. We want to control them back to our sides. Let's do 2 more here. Exhale, press back, find lift. Take them down, breathe in. Once more, we're going to press back and up. Hold this, and I want you to pulse the arms out to their sides, 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 but don't let the arms drop down anymore. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the hands back to shoulder width, then pulse them back behind you. Good. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then the arms come down. Good. Roll out those shoulders. Good. Okay. So what I'd like us to get into next is a psoas stretch. So stretching into the fronts of the hips, kind of traveling a bit down into your quads. The movement, though, is going to be very concentrated. Our pelvis and the positioning of our pelvis is really key here. So we're going to make sure that that is really structured and supported before we begin our movement. So I want you to take a step up with your right foot. Take your hands to that right thigh. So I don't want the foot to be too far forward. When we do this, when we lunge in, our pelvis will naturally start to tilt back. So instead, I really want you to keep the heel underneath the knee. And that way we can find a nice structured neutral pelvis. So instead of tilting it back and popping our booty behind us, which tends to sometimes compress our lower back, I want you to, and if you feel comfortable enough, taking one hand to the very lower back and then one hand right just above your pubic bone. And then if you take your hand that's behind you, press into the lower back, and then take the hand that's in front of you and kind of feel the energy of the hand guiding up towards your belly button. You're going to bring your pelvis into this neutral state where your tailbone is grounded down and your pubic bone zips up towards your belly button. And then from there on out, we never, never, never want to lose this. So that does require effort to stay in this space. So be mindful that that does not get lost. Then our hands back to our thigh here. The shape of our body is never going to change. It's just the weight of our body is going to shift all as one. Okay, so we'll take a breath in. The entire body is going to pull forward a bit. So notice I did not lean. I don't want you to lean into this. I still want you to be nicely propped upright. Remember, tailbone is still grounding down. And then pull back. So the movement is much smaller and concentrated, but just as effective for the front of your left hip. So let's do that again. Whole body lean, or not leans, I don't want to use that word. Whole body draws forward. There we go, Steph. And then we're going to come back, breathing in. Let's do a couple more. Make sure your chest is still lifting the sky. Your shoulders are still above your hips. Bring it back, breathe in. And then one more, we're going to come down and forward, and we're going to hold this space. And I want you to squeeze tightly your left glute and then release the squeeze. Do that again, squeeze your left glute. Notice what happens to the front of your hip as you do that, and then release the squeeze. It changes the stretch just a little bit. We'll do that one more time. Squeeze that left glute and then release the squeeze. Good, bring your body weight back. Stay here. Let's bring our arms next into a cactus position. So because we have a staggered stance with our legs, our balance is thrown off just a little bit. So we're going to make sure that when we take this movement, the movement is from the upper body. The lower half, try to keep it as stable and structured as you can. So arms in cactus, let's take a breath in. When you breathe out, I want you to twist over to your right. As you do, feel that left arm resist you and make sure that right leg is hugging into midline. Return to center on an inhale. So we're coming back to our waist. This time, when you twist to your left, make sure your left hip head presses forward to the front of your mat while the right arm slightly pulls back. So notice my rotation is very small because of all this. And return to center. We're gonna do one more to each. To your right, hug the right leg in, pull the left arm slightly back as you rotate. Center on an inhale. And we'll take it to our left. Left hip presses to the front of your mat, right arm slightly pulling back. Return to center, breathing in. Exhale your hands down, frame your front foot. Step the right leg back so you come into tabletop. Then from tabletop, you walk hands to knees and we roll and stack back up to tall kneelings. We're gonna do that on the other side. Left foot steps up. Make sure the heel's underneath the knee. And then again, if you want to, taking your hands to kind of feel your pelvis, and you can even play around with tilting back and rocking forward, right? Just to kind of feel the positioning of your body. And then take it to where your tailbone is rooted, your pubic bone zips up to your navel. You're already going to start to feel a little bit of activity here in the front of your hip. We're going to take our hands back to thighs, so maintaining the strong structure. So your core should be active here to prevent the release back of the tailbone. We're going to take an inhale. The entire body shifts forward on an exhale. And then draw back on the inhale. Again, we're going to shift forward, chest to sky, shoulders draw back. So we're not leaning forward, right? And then come back, take an inhale. We're going to do two more. Again, feeling this as you come through, traveling down the front of the leg. Pull back, breathing in. With this last one, I want you to draw forward, stay here in space, and I want you to squeeze your right glute. And release the squeeze, and just feeling the difference and change of the stretch as you squeeze the right glute. Hold that squeeze. And then release the squeeze. And we'll do that one more time. Squeezing into the glute. Releasing that squeeze. And then drawing your weight back again. Staying in the space, we'll cactus the arms. We'll take a breath in. We're going to twist now to our left. Feel the left leg hug to midline. Feel the right arm slightly resist you. Center. So the stability of our body is just as key as the movement of our body. So now we rotate to the right, but don't let your hip follow. Feel the hip fight you by pushing forward. Feel also the left arm fight you by pulling back just slight. Return to center. We're going to do one more to each. Spread your fingers wide to keep your arms strong and active. Center on an inhale. Taking it over to your right. Don't let your pelvis shift. Return back to center, breathing in. Exhale your hands down to frame your front foot. Pull that left leg back. Tabletop position. We're going to stay in tabletop and spread our fingers wide. Slightly grip the ground with fingertips to support your wrists. Make sure your knees are beneath your hips. And then instead of looking down at your hands, I want you to look slightly beyond your mat. And then I want you to lift out of the arms so you're not collapsed in. I want you to pull your lower belly in and up so you're not swaying the lower back. On your next inhale, I want you to extend your left arm out in front of you while you stretch your right leg behind you. Flex the foot immediately. As you breathe out, I want you to pull the elbow and knee together underneath you. Bring your chin towards chest and coil yourself into a ball. And then reach out again. Breathe in. Remember to look slightly forward. Exhale, pull everything in, then up. Beautiful. Extend forward again. Take an inhale. Two more. Expansion, using our core for balance and movement. Once more, exhale, pull in and up. Reach out once more on an inhale. Exhale the hand and knee back to tabletop.
We'll switch sides. Breathing in, right arm extends out in front of you, left leg reaches back with a flexed foot. As you breathe out, pull in and up. And then reach out, lengthen the spine, look slightly forward. Look down to your left thigh as you pull into a tight ball. And then lengthen out again, breathing in. We're going to do 2 more of these. Take your time getting to these spaces so that you focus on balance here and staying as steady as you can. Breathing in. Once more. Expansion out one last time on an inhale. Tabletop position on the exhale. Take a moment to take your knees wide and let your big toes come to touch. Sit back to your heels. Walk the hands closer to the front of your mat and just fold into child's pose for a brief moment here. And let's come back out of child's pose into tabletop again, just so that we can get a stretch here. I'm gonna actually take a quarter turn to face the front so that you can see me a little bit easier in movement. Stretching out the upper back and back of shoulder. On an inhale, your right arm sweeps out and up, lifts to the sky, and your eyes follow the hand so it can open your chest. And as you breathe out, the arm threads underneath you, look to your left, actively reach the arm across the ground while you go ahead and rest down onto it. Once you've settled onto the arm, you do have the option, if you'd like to, tenting fingers of your left hand, stepping the hand a bit off to the side, elbow pointing the sky. You can push off those fingertips to try to open your chest up to the sky more, maybe even looking to the ceiling. Essentially, you're just rolling your weight more onto that right arm. And then from here, I want you to breathe into your right shoulder blade. Stretching kind of all the muscles that surround that area. Again, take a breath into the right shoulder blade. And exhale it out. One more time, inhale. And then as you breathe out, press into the left hand, unravel the body, sweep the arm up, and then return it back down to the floor. We'll switch sides. Left arm reaching out and up, breathing in, threading through as you exhale, looking to the right, stretching arm actively across, resting to that arm. Option to tent fingers of right hand, push off fingertips, try to roll that shoulder open. Or I'm sorry, roll that chest open, not the shoulder. And then I want you to breathe into the back of your left shoulder blade. Inhale. Again. One more time, breathe it big. Push off that right hand, unravel, sweep the left arm up, and then take that arm and hand back towards the earth. Beautiful. All right, let me just see what time it is. We've got a couple more minutes. What I want us to do, and we haven't done this in a while, plank. Yeah, 2-minute hold for a plank. Sounds really long, but again, no worries. We break this up into 4 sets of 30-second holds. So mentally wise, it's a nice way to keep us going because we're like, oh, we can do anything for 30 seconds, right? So 30-second hold. We're first going to start, I'll just briefly show, center plank. Then we're going to open into a side plank. You can be on the knee, you can be lifted, right? You can come back to center for 30 and then finish off with your other side for 30 seconds. I am definitely going to use my timer, so no worries on that. Just give me one moment to set it up. And like I said, we'll start in a center plank. So we'll begin this in 3, 2, 1. 30 seconds begins for center plank. So all your body should be working here at once. Legs hugged in, glutes squeezed tight. Lower belly pulls in and up to prevent the hips and thighs from sagging. Puff up between the shoulder blades for pectoral strength, your chest. Softened elbows for arm strength, and then looking beyond your mat for length. Breathe steady and push away from the floor. We have this for 5 more seconds. Good. See, 4, yeah, 3, 2. Let's open into a side plank for 30 next. So again, you can choose to come down to your bottom knee for support. If you're double stacked here with the legs, squeeze them tight. Feel that bottom hip pull away from the ground. Your extended arm, the fingers are spread, and you're reaching up high to the sky. Make sure you're lifting out of your bottom shoulder so you're not collapsing into that arm. These are flying by. We only have 5 more seconds here. 3, 2, 1. Let's transition gently back to center plank. So try to control your shifts through. I know it's hard to do. So legs tight, glutes squeezed, abs in, chest, arms, breath. We got 10 more seconds here on this side, or on this side, this center. 5 more. 3, 2. Let's open to our last side here. So staying strong, breathing big, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the legs, lift and stay strong in the arms, belly tight. 15 more seconds, guys. 10. Good. 5, 3, 2, 1. Gently come back to center, to your knees. Keep the legs together for child's pose this time. The arms can stay out in front, or reaching them behind allows the shoulders to release just a little bit more. You can let them kind of fall towards the ground. And take some deep inhales. Long, steady exhales. Twice more. One last time. Breath in big. As you're breathing out, slowly roll yourself up to a seated position. And then from there, let's go ahead to a cross-legged position. Faced forward, sits bones grounded, heart lifted to the sky. Arms are going to be beside you with the palms turned up. When you take your next inhale, the arms reach out, they lift to the sky, and the hands lightly touch above your head. As you breathe out, those hands draw through your midline down to your heart space where you connect to yourself. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, sweep down, out, lift up high to the sky, connect above, and then go ahead and draw and connect within. One last time. Breathe in, maybe your eyes this time. Follow your hands as they lift up. Watch them as they connect. Follow them as they pull to your heart space. While you keep your hands here, you'll bring your chin towards your chest and you'll close your eyes. This moment is for you to give yourself thanks for showing up here today on your mat, showing up to this practice, most importantly, showing up to yourself, right? You give yourself this time, an opportunity to move body, breathe body, connect and understand your body so that you can have a lifetime of movement. So thank you guys so very much for tuning in. Enjoy this one and more to come. Thanks so much, guys. Wonderful work. Look forward to seeing you guys in the near future. Until then, have a great day and enjoy this practice.